GPIO. This is my first peripheral. So in the this is my first peripheral, GPIO, general purpose input output. So guys, general purpose input output means you can develop any type of general purpose applications. So example, so I will connect LED. If I want to develop application on LED, I can use. If I want to develop application on LCD, I can use. If I want to develop applications on keypad, I can use. If I want to develop an application using motors, I can use. So like that, various examples I can give with the help of your general purpose. So here there is no specific applications are defined. User can decide any application, and user can develop any application using this GPIO. That is the reason they have given a name called as GPIO, general purpose input output. So you can apply example I'm giving here: LED, LCD, keypad, motors, and so on. You can give buzzers, you can give examples. You can give for actuators, any actuators you can give example, right? So these are all the various examples for GPIO. So in our LPC2129 microcontroller, guys, in our LPC2129 microcontroller, we have two ports. So GPIO has been divided into two different ports, port 0 and port 1. Okay. So I'm just calling, so port 1, and we have port 0. So both are 32-bit. So this is also 32-bit, and port 0 also 32-bit. Okay. And port 1 is having a restrictions. So port 1 I can use from P1.0 to P1.15 are reserved, actually reserved for some system functionalities, and we can use P1.16 to P1.31. So we can use this point I'm telling here. So only 16 pins are available in your port 1. So this point I want to highlight here. We can use P1.16 to P1.31. But what about P1.0 to P1.15, sir? So that means, so these are all reserved for system functions. 1.0 to 1.15 are reserved. But what about port 0, sir? Port 0 we can use all 32 pins. In port 0 we can use all 32 pins. That is P is 0.0 to P 0.31. I can use all 32 pins. So there is no restrictions for your port 0. Okay. So there are two ports are there, port 0 and port 1. Port 0 of 32-bit, port 1 is also 32-bit. Port 0 we can use all 32 bits, that is P0.0 to P0.31. And in case of port 1 I can use only P1.16 to P1.31, P1.0 to P1.15. A small correction required here. So P1.0 to P1.15, actually it is a reserved function. It is reserved for system functionalities, and I can use 1.6 to 0.31. So this is a small explanatory part for your GPIO. So now I will take you to the registers which are available in GPIO. Okay. Let us move to the register part. So guys, in our GPIO section we have totally 4 registers. So one is called as IODIR, one is called as IOSET, and IOCLR and IOPIN. There are 4 registers are there. So functionality is very simple functionality. So we will understand one by one. The first one I will write it. So IO, so DIR. So IODIR is a input output direction. Input output direction. IODIR stands for input output direction register. So this register is used to configure port pin. So how do you want to configure your port pin? Whether you want to configure port pin as input port and output port. Okay, so what do you mean by input port? If you want to read the data, you can make it as an input port, and if you want to write the data, you can make it as output port. How can I do, sir? Yes, so here I'm telling. So by configuring port pin as 1, by configuring port pin as 1, we can configure as output port. By configuring port pin as 1, I can configure as the output port, and by configuring 0, I can make it as input port. Here I'm mentioning. So if you want to configure as the output port, so you need to go for 1. You need to configure 1 bit is equal to 1. You need to configure, and if you want to go for input port, you should make it as 0. Okay. So how to do that, sir? One example I'm giving here. So I want to configure port pin as output port. So I want to configure port 0.0 as output port. Configure port 0.0 as output port. So what I will do now, so I have a register IODIR is equal to 1 left shift of 0. So this is what is the meaning of this? So 0th bit in IO direction. This is my register IODIR. IODIR is my register, and this is 0. What you are seeing, this 0 tells you the position. This 0 tells you the position where I need to do, or when I need to configure position, and this one it is going to set to 1. Okay, so in this way I'm going to configure output port. So IODIR is a register. IODIR is a register. In this register I want to configure bit number 0. Position, what is the position here? So P0.0. P0.0. Okay, I need to configure one small correction. It should be actually 0 here. IODIR 0 it should be. So IODIR 0. Okay, so it should be like this. IODIR 0. 0 indicates port 0, and this 0 indicates position P0.0. Port 0. Port 0 out of this port 0, and position is also 0. So 0th position I want to set it to 1. So in this way I can configure my port pin to output port. In detail we will explore in the programming part. Okay. The second register in this second register is called as IOSET. Okay. So IOSET stands for input output set. Okay. If you want to set any port pin, I'm going to use a register called as IOSET. So IOSET stands for input output set. So for example, I want to set P0.0. So if you want to set, so what I will use a register IOSET 0 is equal to 1 left shift of 0. So already I have explained you what is the meaning of this statement. 1 left shift of 0 means it is going to set the 0th bit. So in detail I'll explain in the programming part. Okay, and what where I need to do in the IOSET register. IOSET means it is going to set the port pin to 1. In the similar way, if you want to clear the, so I'll give one more example here. So clear P0.0. So if you want to clear, so what I will use here, I will use IO clear 0 is equal to 1 left shift of 0. So this instruction is going to clear the port pin. Okay, so These are all the three important register in our GPIO. One is direction, one is set, and one is clear. Direction is going to define the direction of the port pin, whether you need to configure input port or output port. That is first register. Second register is called as IOSET. IOSET stands for input output set operation. If you want to set any port pin to high, you can use it, and if you want to clear the port pin, you can use clear register. The last one, IOPIN. So IOPIN register is used to read the status of port pin. So for example, if you connected one switch, let us assume there is a microcontroller and I have connected one switch here. So I want to know whether switch is pressed or not. So let us assume this is my switch. So I need to check whether my switch is pressed or not. How do you identify? So in that situation, I'll be using this kind of register. So I'll be using IOPIN. IOPIN is a register. It is used to read the status of the port pin. Okay, how to use that? We'll be seeing in the example, programming example. Okay, so programming example we will discuss in the next session. Okay, I hope everyone clear with this presentation. Okay, so with this I want to wind up the session, guys. Thank you. We will meet you in the next video. Thank you. Hello students.